High in the frozen winds of the Altai Mountains, there is a plateau untouched by time, a place where winter never truly ends, and the earth hides stories older than the Roman Empire, older than the pyramids of the Maya, older than most legends we still whisper about today. In 1993, archaeologists cracked open a burial mound, sealed for over 2,500 years. What they found inside wasn't a warrior, not a queen, not a myth, but something far stranger and far more powerful. They called her the Ukok Princess, but her people knew her as something deeper, a woman who stood between worlds, something chosen not for violence or royalty, but for spirit. The discovery began with ice, hard, ancient, unmoving. The archaeologists expected a simple burial, a wooden chamber, a few artifacts, maybe some bones. Instead, every strike of the pick revealed ice layered upon ice, preserving a moment in history as perfectly as if time itself had refused to move forward. Inside the kurgan, the burial mound, lay 6 horses, each adorned with saddles, masks, and bridles. Not tossed aside, but arranged like guardians. This was no ordinary grave. This was a vault of someone whose death mattered to everyone who lived in these mountains. And then the chamber opened. There, lying in a wooden coffin lined with furs, was the body of a woman in her mid-20s. Her skin still soft, her clothing intact, her expression calm as if she had only just closed her eyes. The cold had kept her untouched for 2.5 millennia, a human preserved by winter. But it was her tattoos that made the world stop and stare. Across her shoulder, down her arms, and tracing the curve of her spine were swirling, intricate designs. Creatures with antlers like spiraling smoke, predators with griffin bodies, deer leaping into otherworldly shapes. This wasn't decoration. This wasn't fashion. These were symbols of status, identity, and belief. In the Pazyryk culture, the more tattoos you carried, the higher your importance in society, and her ink was among the most elaborate ever found. To her people, she wasn't just a woman, she was someone who walked between the living and the invisible. A possible shaman, a keeper of stories, dreams, and spirits. So who was she? Not a warrior, no scars, no battle wounds. Not a queen, no golden crown, no throne. Instead, she was buried with a tall felt headdress, fine garments of silk and wool, carved wooden objects, and herbs believed to have healing powers. Her clothing alone told a story. She wasn't meant to lead armies, she was meant to guide souls. Archaeologists believe she may have been one of the spiritual leaders of her tribe. Someone who interpreted visions, communicated with ancestors, and performed rituals that tied the living to the world beyond. In a land of ice and endless sky, a shaman wasn't just respected, they were essential. Her burial was precise, ceremonial, almost delicate. The coffin crafted with larch wood, the chamber sealed with stone and timber. The horses positioned for the journey into the afterlife. Everything about her death says one thing: she mattered deeply. Her people didn't send her into the next world as a body, they sent her as a guide, a protector, a bridge between realms. But excavation unearthed more than a body. Many locals believed her burial place should never have been disturbed. After the discovery, a massive earthquake shook the Altai region. Homes were destroyed, the ground was split, entire valleys shook. Locals believed it wasn't coincidence. To them, removing the shaman violated ancient spiritual laws. They said the mountain spirits were angry that she had been disturbed. The scientists called it coincidence. The people of Pazyryk called it consequence. But the truth? Mystery really leaves us with clean answers. Years later, the Ukok Princess was returned to the Altai Republic, not as an artifact, but an ancestor. Her story no longer belongs to the archaeologists alone. It belongs to the people whose lineage still echoes across the mountains she once walked. Today they honour her, not as a symbol of science, but a voice from their past. A reminder of who they were and what they believed. She lived in a world of horses, mountains, and spirits. A world ruled by wind and winter. A world where the line between myth and memory was as thin as the ice that preserved her. Her story slept for 2,500 years, and when the frost finally released her, she became more than a discovery. She became a bridge, reconnecting us to the ancient imagination of mankind. The Ukok Princess reminds us that the past is never truly gone. It's only waiting, still listening, still watching, still whispering through the cracks of history for those willing to hear.